Well, publishing is basically the controlling of the songwriting copyright. Your publisher is assigned that from the writers to be able to work that song, account for it, collect the money for it, and pay you as the writer. In the old days, the writers were never their own publisher. That was not a norm. The song was split 50-50. You get half, a full song, split it right down the middle. This becomes a publisher's share, this becomes a writer's share. And if one wins, the other wins. So in the old days, it was a 50-50 deal. And everybody got a chance to make their money based on success. These days, the mantra is don't give up all your publishing. Try to keep a bit of your publishing or a reversion clause in your publishing so you can just have a bigger owner share. I'm a publisher. So for my end of the thing, I think you absolutely should try it. My first publishing deal, I actually did get to keep 25% of my publishing, but that was a rare deal. As a publisher, though, I know the amount of work and time and money and effort that goes into it. So depending on how diluted the deal is going to get, is going to be directly dependent on how much time I can afford and effort I can afford and money to put into it. So I will offer a deal that I think is fair based on, every one of my writers that I write with has publishing. They kept part of their publishing. On purpose. I'll offer them that. But everyone has a different level of that too. Because some guys are going to be more active in it. They're going to help me. Other guys are going to lay down and just wait for. They don't know that. They don't want to do that part. They're an artist. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They just want to check. And I'm not going to get out of them what I might get out of the other guy. So. Again, there's no one way to do that either. I know a lot of the labels, the publishing companies here in Nashville and LA, they're not even doing co-pub deals right now. They're paying less money, and it's all upside down. When I got a deal with Sony here, it was a 50-50 co-pub deal. I got a good salary, paid every week. Had a place to work. They hooked me up with writers. All the stuff that they're supposed to do. Those deals are harder to find these days. A good publisher will do some of those things for you. They're not a bank. They're not there to loan you money and do this, but they are there to help you cover some of your demo cost. When you become a co-publisher, you accept 50% of that cost too. So if you're ready to be a co-publisher, be ready to spend money every time you want to do a demo. If you don't, then you've got to figure out what you want. You're accepting a business position, and there's cost to that. But a good publisher, should be able to hook you up with some co-writes, keep you in mind for anything that's coming up, pitch you ideas with people looking for songs, what they're looking for, give you opportunities to write for them. If they can afford to pay you any kind of salaries or advances or bonuses, a lot of times I'll do bonuses based on success, But I also need that writer out there has to hustle almost as much as I do. And you ask any writer that's ever had a staff deal, they'll tell you the same thing. They have to work their ass off. You can never just lay down and expect it to happen. Now, that's changed too. Back in the early 80s, late 70s, Alan O'Day last night said he's got one song that's never been a hit, but it's been cut 50 times. And that's from nothing he's done, I guarantee you. In those days, there weren't nearly as many songs, nearly as many songwriters, nearly as many publishers and all that stuff. So you had opportunities in the 70s and early 80s that are harder to get now. You have to fight harder to get those things. So there's an advantage to him and Pamela Olin. Like I say, she's got 400 songs cut and major cuts. She didn't go work those catalogs. They did. Now she's having to work the catalog, so now she's seeing that, wow, I really had it good in those days. But she's a hard worker. She's doing musicals. She's just really busting it. And so I think it takes that combination. I would tell young writers, if a publisher is interested in them, I would work a deal that I'm comfortable with. I'm not saying don't try to get the 50% or not. I'm saying that look at the situation as it is. I don't go with the attitude that you should hang on to 50% of your publishing no matter what. If I'd have done that, I would have never had a Tiffany #1, because I gave my publishing away, and my promise was from that producer, give me this publishing, I'll get you a top 10 hit. Well, he got me #1 hit. I'll sell 500,000 records. Well, I sold 4 million records. So would I take that? But would I like to have the publishing of that song? Yes, I would. But at what cost? What would have changed in my life, right? So I think you have to look at each situation and go, this is good for me. I always looked at it and go, like, I'm going to write more songs, like Frito-Lay, you're out of chips, we'll make more, the same deal. I figured this can't be my best. If that's the best song I'm ever going to write, then I might as well hang it up now. I got to keep writing and be better at it. So someday I'll probably get that publishing back. I mean, I think a reversion would have been a good idea had I known something about that as a kid, But even so, reversion on something that's a hit is harder to get. 30 years later, you might get a reversion, and I'd have been happy with that. At that point in time, thinking 30 years, and going, who cares? I'll be dead in 30 years. But obviously, I'm still here. So, I think there's no one way. It's the same old story, and I know it kind of seems like I'm avoiding the questions a bit, but I'm not. I'm trying to kind of let everybody know that my way is not the only way, but it was a way.